Ever found something super weird in your house? I found a glowing medal in my grandma's attic. I touched it. Big mistake. Suddenly, I wasn't in the dusty attic anymore. I was falling. Fast. I landed with a thump, not on floorboards, but in a field of tall, scratchy grass. My pajamas were gone. Instead, I wore a clunky green uniform that smelled like old socks. Where was I? More importantly, where was my teddy bear Barnaby? I looked around. My grandma's house had vanished. In its place stood a row of long green tents. Soldiers in uniforms just like mine rushed everywhere, shouting things I didn't understand. A man with a very serious face and a mustache that looked like a squirrel was napping on his upper lip, marched right up to me. He pointed a finger at my nose. He asked what a kid was doing on his base. I just squeaked. He told me to stop squeaking and start marching. So I marched. My feet felt like floppy pancakes. This was way harder than my Saturday morning cartoon marathon. We marched for what felt like forever. My stomach rumbled louder than a grumpy bear. The squirrel mustache man heard it. He tossed me a small, hard cracker. It tasted like cardboard. I missed my grandma's chocolate chip cookies. As I nibbled my sad cracker, I saw something familiar. It was the glowing medal. It wasn't in my hand anymore. It was pinned to the chest of a young soldier sitting by a campfire. He looked just like the old photos of my grandpa. He had the same kind eyes and a smile that could melt ice cream. He was telling stories to the other soldiers. He talked about home. He talked about his family. He talked about a girl he loved, who I realized was my grandma. He pulled out a wrinkled photo from his pocket. It was a picture of my grandma when she was young. Her hair was in 2 long braids. She was smiling that same cookie baking smile. He said he was fighting so he could go home to her. He said he missed her more than anything. Suddenly, another soldier shouted. Everyone jumped up. My grandpa tucked the photo away, his face turning serious. He looked right at me and winked. Then he ran off with the others into the darkness. I wanted to follow him. I wanted to tell him everything would be okay. I wanted to tell him he was my hero. Before I could move, the world started to spin again. The smell of old socks and cardboard crackers faded away. I was back in the attic. The medal was in my hand, no longer glowing. It was just a normal, old piece of metal. Downstairs, I heard my grandma calling my name for dinner. I ran down the rickety stairs, clutching the medal tight in my hand. I hugged my grandma harder than I ever had before. I asked her to tell me a story about Grandpa. She smiled, her eyes twinkling. She said she had plenty of those. I looked at the medal on the table. It didn't look like much, but I knew its secret. It wasn't just metal. It was a story. A story of a brave soldier, a funny mustache, and a love that crossed time. Every old thing in your house may have a story. You just have to be brave enough to listen. Next time you see an old photo or a dusty trinket, ask about it. You might discover a hero you never knew you had. Thanks for coming along with us for this magical adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, little one.